Good morning everyone, I'm Shibid. It is a beautiful morning in Cumbria, England, and I hope that everyone is well and happy and that you'll be able to enjoy a little bit of birdsong this morning with me. I'm sat next to the open door, and hopefully we can have a nice stroll through the woodland together this morning. I have a woodland journal flip through to show you, and I think I'll just get on with showing you. So the request was, well, there was quite a long list of things that this lady likes and doesn't like, so I won't point everything out, but it was just generally like a woodland, very rustic, with some eco dyes. So what I came up with was this. I've done a fabric cover with eco dye and a nice batik wildflower that came out quite well. So we're enjoying church bells as well this morning. I've done some stitching around here and around the covers. So the spine is like that and the back cover is like that. I've done a traditional bookbinding method, which is slightly unusual. It has this nice, it's done in 3 pieces. So it has this nice, like a lip here, where the fabric goes around the board. Hope you can see that. And of course you can use, excuse me, you can have it as a round or a square spine. What's nice about this method is that you don't have to have a massive piece of fabric that came out well to cover the whole book, because it's in 3 pieces. You can use smaller things. This is the same that I did with my beekeeper's journal, was similar. I think that had a more rounded spine. I just stretch over here. I've got 2 little ones here that I made ages ago. These were actually practice for the beekeepers, but as you can see, quite a small piece of fabric. It makes a really pretty little notebook. This one has a round spine, so you don't need much to make it pretty, and just stitching round. This one is square, and I made these as a very plain notebook, just plain pages. So a more traditional notebook really. This is the kind of book that I use myself for note taking. What's slightly unusual about this method is that you sew in the signature, as you can see here, sew in the end paper. So you can see the stitches there, so that slightly sturdier than the pages, but you sew that exactly the same as one of the other signatures along with the others, and then that glues down, and that makes quite a neat little notebook. I really like how these turned out. So just a little idea for you guys. Of course you can disguise the stitches a little bit if you wanted. Okay, so eco dyed oak leaf with a wax seal. Some leaf prints. This lady's favourite colour is October, which I thought was really nice. Autumn is actually my favourite season also. So I've just done some simple tags for the pockets there. I might have to remove that charm to get these back in, I think. So lovely golden leaf print. So some of the animals that she requested were there, that's just the library card. I think it has a snail on it, with the Woodlanders book, and Pheasants was another one. I made a envelope with inked paper and stuck it to a tag so that it just opens like that for writing space, or you can keep something in there. So it has a little leaf print here from the leaf transfers. So you could use that as a traditional tag. I've stuck mine down as a tuck spot. Another little idea. So this book has many of the papers from the actually, let me just tell you about this page since we're here. When we were talking about what she would like included, she sent me a few photos of the forest near her, and one of them was that view when you stand under the trees and look upwards, which I really love. I was actually, it was funny, I was in the walking in the woods the same week, doing exactly the same thing, looking upwards, thinking how beautiful, and wouldn't it be nice to capture that sense of looking upwards into the trees for a journal. And then she sent me the photo of the same thing as a request, so I thought that was what's the word, coinky-dink, in a nice way. So what I've done is sprayed some sky, just exactly the same as you saw me recently in a tutorial doing, and then I've just used a sponge to put some nice autumn colours, golds and greens and browns, and just drawn some branches. I think that came out nice. So hopefully this kind of gives that impression of looking upwards. A tracing paper pocket with some leaf specimens here, some nice vintage pages, a tuck, a pocket, this lovely little music manuscript is from the old design shop, Come Little Leaves, and I've put this bee graphic on here. Hand carved stamp, this is just a little extra writing area. So as I was saying, all these inked papers that I've used are all the ones that you saw me inking with the tutorial recently, the paper plant transfer impression thing. So I've used quite a lot in here. This is just a piece of the sort of torn edge of the eco dye that sometimes gets damaged excuse me, after you've boiled them, and so I've just used that as a torn page, glued it. That's some really nice little plant flower heads and petal shapes. I think it came out really pretty. Some sheer fabric, a tracing paper, so this is inked to look like bark. I think you saw me doing these as well. Did you? Did I have tracing? No, I think I did the tracing paper later, sorry, but exactly the same. And this idea of embossing with this is copper from Dolly. Thank you, Dolly, for that lovely idea. A little label, some stitching on eco dyed paper, some leaf prints, collage. This little section is a tuck if you want to use it as a tuck. She doesn't do much writing, but she's a collector. She collects all pictures and little bits and pieces, so she wanted plenty of pockets. So there's a tiny writing area here, The quote says, "And into the forest I go to lose my mind and find my soul." Some bits of tracing paper, a little drawing. This is, I typed out onto rice paper a section of, just copied from John Muir's book, Into the Wilderness, is it called? Something like that. And then I've just used sections, just torn it up and used sections of it. So there's a piece here, and there's a couple of pieces I've used for a Woodland Kit that's coming soon. John Muir is not very well known here, I have to say. I'm not sure. I hope that he's better known in the States, because he was a really important person. Environmentalist, conservationist. I believe he was instrumental in establishing some of America's national parks. I'm not too sure of the details, but he's one of those important people. And he's a really beautiful writer. When you read some nice little original notes on these vintage book pages, when you read his works, you really get taken in, and then he's very enchanting. And his love of nature really comes across beautifully in the way that he writes. So I'm really enjoying reading his book, and it's one of those things that you can kind of dip in and out of. You don't have to read it cover to cover, but certainly makes really interesting reading. He was born in Scotland, I believe, but his family moved when he was still very young, and so he grew up in America. But he should be better known here, especially since he was born in Scotland. I go to nature to be soothed and healed, and to have my senses put in order. So I've just used a tag here for a little, like a background for a small collage, a vintage tea card, and that's a tuck if you want it. So some of these leaves have come out really nice. You can see a lot of detail. These were definitely from the tutorial. And then I think for the most part that's all I've used. Some very pretty illustrations on these vintage books. Pine cones was another thing. Hand carved acorn. And this is an envelope made of eco dye again. Oh, am I showing you upside down? I think so. With a specimen leaf. So I'm just trying to be a bit more careful with this one, it's quite delicate. What was I saying about papers, was it? Oh. Yes, I've used all the papers that you've seen on the tutorial for these inked pages that you can see. That was a different section, that's eco dye, and these are plant impressions, transfers, whatever we're calling them, we're not sure. I think impression is probably more accurate. I've rubbed some gold onto this autumn leaf. Some more eco dye. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say. Except for there's a few actual prints where I've pressed an inked. So I think there was some cow parsley earlier. sprayed ink on the plant and pressed it down onto the paper. So a small collage. There's another batik here of a poppy head onto fabric. Nice big envelope, some more machine lines, some more eco dye. And this section, oh, okay, I forgot to remind myself of this lady's name. She's called Gail, and then it's not Agostini, but Agostilini or something like that. I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about. I will try to remember to find her and link down below. She had a really nice tutorial recently of a trifold envelope, which kind of opened out like this. So she had 3 envelopes here, and I thought it looked a really pretty little, made a really nice little packet. It was kind of, you know, when you just want to hold and squeeze something. It was one of those. So I sat down to do much the same, but it's actually turned out pretty different. But my inspiration was from Gail, so thank you, Gail. That was a really lovely idea. So what I did was not use envelopes, so obviously it's going to be different in the end, and just used, I've cut this book page to make it like that, and 3 nice big pockets. So I've used some eco dye, I've used lots of layers of scraps, so that it has a really nice thick feeling. And I've used some of this beautiful bronze thread again, so that's like sheer fabric on the seams. And on the back there's a pocket here with your alphabet cards practice. Oh yeah, that's your letter from the bookmaker. I'm doing my contortionist thing again, trying to wrap around the camera. Okay. And this one, a little file folder. And that's where I've put your, I need to take that off. That one. Some more eco dye paper. Aces was another request. A little acer leaf. Somebody pointed out that these look like pot. They actually do, yes, you're right. They may well be. I'm not such a brilliant botanist that I would be able to tell the difference, I don't think. So here is a oak leaf in a tracing paper pocket. That's just a business card, so you've got an extra little tuck here. And that goes in there. So thank you, Gail, for that nice idea. Actually, Gail got her idea, I believe, from her friend Tammy. So thank you, Tammy, as well. I'm not sure if it's the same Tammy that messages me also, so, you know, hi to both of you. So here's some more little vintage tea cards. Some more eco dye flowers. And a nice John Muir quote here. Whatever special nests we make, leaves and moss like the marmots and birds, or tents and piled stone, we all dwell in a house of one firmament for its roof, and are sailing the celestial spaces without leaving any track. I love that. Definitely worth a dabble into his book. So pocket here and pocket here. This has some nice copper staples. Another request. Lovely Elf Queen. This is just a closed section with some extra pages. It has some nice stag design on that paper, which she likes also. Also the old design shop, and some vine stitching. A tag, a poem, some wallpaper printing, some nice flower designs on here, a vellum pocket, and more pockets. This was a request. I think some of the pages speak for themselves, really. I don't need to say a lot. Piece of eco dye there enclosed in the tracing paper. Another John Muir. And some more inked papers, handcraft stamp. And she's an Edith Holden fan, so I've used quite a lot of her papers too. A nice little fox on this stamp from Newlybird on Etsy. And a pocket there, and that's the end papers. And this, I've used this fox because she likes foxes, and I didn't want to cover it up by sticking it down because the back is so pretty also. Some little harvest mice in a poppy field. So I've just put 2 tracing paper pockets for you to tuck something in there, and that's just tucked in the back. And that is that. Charms are, whoops, the breeze going. More rusticness here. So I've used a lot of these nice autumnal colours. A leaf. There's another little oak leaf, along with a bead. Oh, excuse me. And back. Okay, so where do we get up to? Acorn, little bead cluster. More amber beads. Sorry, I'm not in frame. Pine cone. And this is quite a special bead. This came off a broken necklace from a very snazzy store here in England. Beautiful acorn and a little silver fox. So I hope that you are happy with your book. Other news. Fifi the panda is pregnant. What other news? Yes. So along with this book, I did do a Woodland Kit. So this is another digital kit that is almost ready, and I think that I'll be able to do the video straight after this. So I may show this video a day later so that the kit is ready. So the thing to tell you is that, oh yes, scrap that. There's no video with the kit because my printer's broken. Yes, again. So I'm waiting for a part for it, so I won't be able to print it out to show you, but when you see this video, the kit is probably on my website already. So that's shibidneri.com. So I hope you'll pay a visit. And there's also a few freebies of inked papers that you saw me doing in the tutorial with some nice plant impressions on them. So if you would like to download those, please feel free. And thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next time. Bye.